Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video, and as promised I said I would keep up to date on this Unity situation. And it's been quite interesting over the last, well, week or two really. There's been some absolutely crazy developments and some pretty bewildering ones, I want to say. Now, there's a lot of people that are saying that this situation's over now. It's all good. It's resolved and everyone's happy. And while things are definitely looking a lot better now, it's kind of hard to ignore the elephant in the room, which is the trust. 5 days ago, Unity made an announcement on Twitter that they were going to make an announcement, which was completely pointless because it was a further 5 days until the announcement was actually made. And during that time, all hell was let loose, and something very interesting happened. Now, of course, this is all about the Unity runtime fee and the charges to the pay per install model. But something that was really interesting in the last video, we spoke about AppLovin, which I mistakenly called AppJoy all the way through the video, and somehow didn't even realise in editing that I had called it that. But that's besides the point. CEO of AppLovin has made a response during those 5 days, and it was a really interesting one. He rightfully pointed out that they were being personally attacked by Unity, and this entire business model was just here to completely sandbag and sink AppLovin. And for those who don't know what AppLovin is an app analytics app, and it basically tracks installs, performance, uninstalls, all that sort of stuff. Unity basically offered to waiver all of these fees for the pay per install if you used their version of AppLovin software, thereby monopolising and completely killing out AppLovin. So yes, they rightfully felt personally attacked, because they were. Now, the response that came out was absolutely glorious, and I don't think it could have been done any better. CEO of AppLovin came forward and announced a tool, aptly named Unifree, that would allow you, with the assistance of AI, to move your code from C# in Unity to C++ in Unreal. And a lot of tests of this showed that this worked with about 95% of the human input just not needed. It works quite well, and it works with other game engines as well, and is getting better over time. The remaining 5% you have to fix, but that is a small price to pay for such a monumental task. Now, of course, this got shared around a lot, and a lot of people immediately used this to move over to Unreal. And I believe this is the reason that Unity then scrambled to put out a statement. And it's okay. It was a decent statement. The wording of it, not so much. The description of it, not so much. But this essentially abolished the egregious pay per install that they previously had, and has underlined some new changes to fixed pricing. And even brought some good things in, such as removing the requirement for indie games to use the Made with Unity splash screen, which, as many of you know, is not great. If anything, I've always thought this hurts Unity's brand, because most of the games in the indie tier are people's first games, which are usually, I'm sorry, but they're usually pretty shit. And alongside that is the Made with Unity banner. It's not good advertising for Unity, I don't think, and I think it's a good thing they've removed that requirement now, because it makes other, genuinely good indie games, it doesn't tie the genuinely good indie games to the absolutely crappy ones with that banner. So that's a great move and a good step forward for Unity.
Summary of Unity runtime fee program. Now, this is their recent update. If you're on the Unity Personal or Plus plan, the runtime fee does not apply. The new Unity runtime fee will only apply to Unity Pro and to Unity Enterprise, which is fantastic to hear, if true. No games created with any currently supported Unity versions will be impacted. Also good to know, this is not something that is going back in time to, change the fabric of reality to benefit Unity's pockets, to line their pockets. Only those created with or upgraded to the long-term support LTS version releasing in 2024 or later, currently referred to as the 2023 LTS, will be impacted. For those games, the fee is only applicable after a game has crossed two thresholds: $1 million in gross revenue, trailing 12 months, so that is the prior 12 months, and 1 million initial engagements. Now, engagements I find to be very vague. After crossing these two thresholds, you can choose to pay the runtime fee, either based on monthly initial engagements or 2.5% of your game's monthly gross revenue. Ultimately, you will be charged the lesser of the two. Now, that is good. 2.5% of your game's revenue is less than Unreal Engine, and I believe they've come out to do this just to be competitive. After swinging and missing, they have to swing and at least hit something now. And that 2.5% has to be the thing they hit, right? So it makes sense. Key updates. Okay. Unity Personal, no runtime fee, which is good to know. This means that indie devs are free of this atrocious program. Splash screens optional. This is what I mentioned previously, and I think this is fantastic. This should never have been a thing, and it's kind of weird that it ever was. The Unity personal plan will remain free, and there will be no runtime fees for games built with the plan. We will be increasing the annual revenue and funding limit from 100,000 USD to 200,000 USD, and we will remove the requirement to use the Made with Unity splash screen, starting with the LTS version releasing in 2024. That's the kind of catch here. That weird clause of using the Unity the Made with Unity screen when you open up a game, that's only removed with the next year version, which, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of weird that they wouldn't just retroactively remove that, because it doesn't actually benefit them. But it is what it is. The runtime fee is forward-looking. The runtime fee does not apply to any game created with any currently supported Unity versions. It only applies to games created with or upgraded to the LTS version releasing in 2024, commonly referred to as the 2023 LTS or later. So this is weird. They kind of slap this out as a statement saying, almost, we were never intending that. The people got this wrong. This is forward-looking. No, it wasn't. Like, you can't steer away from the fact that that is how you worded it, that is how it was, that's how it was intended to be, and you've now changed it. I'm glad that they have now changed it, but kind of stating this as this is just how it was, that's kind of disingenuous. Editor terms. We will make sure that you can stay on the terms applicable for the version of Unity that you are using as long as you keep using that version. This is the absolute knee slapper. This is what people wanted. It's really annoying that this is a key update. This is not a key update. This is something they promised prior and then removed all evidence of them saying it and then have now reinstated it like it's a big announcement. It's not. It's good, but it's not a new announcement or a key update. I'm sorry, you don't get the W on this one. This is just something that was already there that you tried to remove and hide, and you realised, shit, we've been caught. Let's put it back quick. Runtime fee self-reported. Now, this is fantastic. And again, I don't want to give them credit for something revolutionary. This is how it always was and how it always should have been. On a monthly basis, you have a choice of the lesser of the 2.5% revenue share or the calculated amount based on a unique initial engagements. Both of your initial engagements and your revenue are self-reported from data you already have available. You will always be billed on the lesser amount. This is basically saying, you know that horrible, horrible thing we did where we were going to be putting spy tracking software in your game to track every install and potentially be able to do more than that? Well, they're not going to do that now. They're going to go back to something that, again, here, they're posing as a kind of, whoa, you self-report your data. Isn't that cool? That's how it always has been. That's how it is with Unreal Engine. That's how it is with other game engines that do charge for their usage. You self-report. So this isn't a big announcement of a revolutionary feature. I know they're not posing this one as that. It's just we've reverted our change, essentially. But again, they can't just say we've backed down. They have to say, like, oh, you will be able to self-report now. I may be a bit salty, but they've just reverted their change and avoided wording it as such, I guess is what I'm saying. Now, we can dive super deep into this runtime fee and into the nitty-gritty of it, but it doesn't affect 80% of Unity users now. And for those that it does, they just have the option of the lesser 2, which is 2.5%, which is, that's fine. So if this goes ahead as planned and they can do that, this is fantastic. This is a great, I'm not going to say great change. I guess what I'm saying is they got called out and they reverted their change. So, good. The internet has won, provided that they actually go ahead with this, as I stated, and that they put some sort of legally binding contracts out there where they can no longer screw over their users and go back on this. But yeah, good news.
But there's a bit of an issue that everyone is pointing out. The trust is gone. It does not matter what they do now, the trust is gone. Because it took them 2 weeks to rectify something, and let's be real, they were just waiting for it to blow over. They were hoping that it would just be a post it on Friday, everyone goes home for the weekend, come back to the Unity offices and people have forgot about it. It's going to be one of those 48-hour outrage periods. Well, it wasn't, and people have hurt their bottom line, and they were forced to make a statement and make a move. Now, I will say this. The pricing changes that they have now outlined are great. They are really good for indies and they are far less harmful to the big AAAs. They've also now stated that this will not retroactively apply to previous games. However, the way that they posted this statement really just, it kind of grinds my gears because it is so something that I didn't cover in the last two videos is that Unity had removed their repo on GitHub that had all of the previous year licenses in there. Because, as they had stated on their website, you abide by the license of the year version of Unity that you are using for your game. If you update to a new version of Unity, you update to the new license. Cool, that makes sense, right? Well, they removed that line 6 months ago, obviously in preparation for all these changes, and then, at the same time, deleted all history of those licenses in the GitHub repo. Why? Clearly, the obvious answer is to hide them for when this retroactive change comes in. Well, people noticed, and Unity in their post, they could have just shut up. They could have just taken the L and realised, we messed up, we were trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, and it didn't work. I'll have it on screen, but the gist of it was around about, we're very disappointed at how people have portrayed our removal of the terms of service and the EULAs off of the GitHub repo. People have framed it as a sort of nefarious doing, right? Where they then follow on with, the reason we removed it is because of how few people actually see it. What? You removed a piece of text because of how few people see it, thereby making it that no one can see it. You've doubled down on the problem that you've just explained. You've made it worse. That is the worst excuse for what you have done. And again, with the trust you have already lost, Unity, you are just digging a hole. You're using one hand to dig a hole and using the other hand to shove your foot in your mouth. And I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, you have broken the trust beyond repair. Because people are rightfully pointing this out, that the new changes to the pricing structure are good, but now they want a legally binding contract. Because until you can do that, until Unity can provide proof that this is what we're going to do and this is how people are going to be treated going forward, it's all just words. And it means nothing and they can always double back on it. It doesn't matter. For them, this could simply be a case of, we messed up and we didn't cover our tracks very well, but we'll try again next year. So this is super interesting to me because I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that this is enough or it's too little too late? Along with this, the publishers of the game Terraria have donated $100k to two separate game engines, $100k each, and $1,000 a month going forward every month, to help these non-profit game engines really thrive. Whether Unity has sufficiently reverted this or not, they have absolutely shaken up the game industry over the course of 2 weeks. The European Union's gaming division is also looking into the legality of changing terms of service and EULA, that is end-user licensing agreements, on the fly, retroactively. Because as people are pointing out, this is illegal, or it should be. And that's a good thing for everybody if this is looked into. Because there was recently a case with Minecraft and Mojang where they updated the Minecraft end-user licensing agreement to add a clause that says if you make any content on Minecraft and we don't like it, we have the right to remove it and claim it as our own. How is that legal? And as you can probably imagine, there are two problems with this. We don't like it is so vague that you can't really hold that in court. If this went to court, how is it proven? Because Mojang can just say they don't like anything, and therefore you've agreed to it, so they can take it down. And secondly, YouTubers who agreed to the previous version of the EULA have now automatically agreed to this one. So in theory, their entire back catalogue of videos can be claimed by Mojang because they don't like it. Now, while they've not been abusing this, there's nothing to say they can't, which is a problem. So the sooner that the EU division of gaming look into this, the better, as this just reinstates a lot of our rights as product holders and product users. Ladies and gents, I just want to give a massive thank you to the patrons. You've been allowing me to pump out more videos than I used to, and if you are not a patron and you want to support the channel, please consider joining. There's a link in the description or on screen in a second. And as always, until next time, take care.